10 yards penalty because I hadn't made the video live yet.
Video live.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2.
The Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by listeners like me. To find out more, visit dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, October 31st, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me, as she does most Mondays, Veronica Belmont is alongside. That's what I was looking for. How's it going, Veronica?
It is great. How are you today?
I am good. Very excited to have Charlie Oliver, founder and CEO of ServedFreshMedia, alongside as well.
Hey, happy Halloween, guys. Thanks for having me.
Happy Halloween, Charlie. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk to Charlie about machine learning and why it's going to be very disruptive, and AI is going to do a lot of good things, and it's very scary, but we shouldn't be scared. Right, Charlie?
No, we shouldn't be. I'd be more afraid of this election than of AI.
I think that is a bipartisan feeling. Like everyone
Exactly.
at this point. So we're going to talk about machine learning in a little bit. We got some top stories to get to first, though. Microsoft is going to publicly launch its IFT competitor, Microsoft Flow, and its web and mobile app builder Power Apps on Tuesday, November 1st. And now here are some more top stories. CenturyLink has agreed to buy Level 3 Communications to create the #2 global enterprise networking company to AT&T. Netflix and Google are customers for Level 3. They use it to transit internet traffic, and Level 3 holds 200,000 route miles of fiber, some of it in cities, some of it connecting continents. So they do backbone stuff. It's kind of an outdated term, but I know that means something to some people out there. CenturyLink has 6 million residential customers in the U.S. If you're an old Quest subscriber, they bought Quest. They run a lot of ISP stuff, but they make 76% of the revenue from enterprise customers. So the companies hope to complete the merger by Q3 2017, pending FCC approval. I mean, this is a big enterprise level story, and there's a lot of people very interested in it who are in this industry. But I think for the average consumer, the question is this going to bring prices down? And I don't think the answer is yes, Veronica.
Yeah, I think they just make up the prices now. I think that's kind of how it works. They just figure out how much we're willing to pay and just stick with that. And then, or they just add things to your bill and maybe you notice them or maybe you don't.
And it doesn't add another competitor to the situation. It's something that is consolidating more business. Charlie, do you ever deal in that side of the internet with these big backbone content delivery network people?
I don't. I have in the past, but not to the extent that this makes any kind of sense to me right now, because, again, it's like Veronica was saying, it's most people don't know or care about this, and my clients don't necessarily understand this stuff. I mean, just getting them to even understand the front end basic stuff is challenging.
Yeah. I think the thing to take away for most people is companies like Level 3 have made a lot of money silently in the background, just connecting parts of the internet to each other. And this summer, for the first time, Level 3 had a big slowdown in their revenue, and that scared a lot of shareholders, which is why they're being pushed into this sale. So there may be more consolidation in this business to come. Keep an eye on it.
Do they know what's the slowdown for, or why it slowed down? I'm just
it's you need to have scale, is from what I understand. You need to have more pipes than even Level 3 has.
More pipes than even Level 3 has.
And it's costly to roll out those pipes.
Okay.
All right. IDC showed the tablet market declined 14.4% year over year in the fall quarter. Apple raised top market share to 21.5% through total shipments, fell 6.2%. More than 2/3 of Apple shipments are the iPad and iPad mini, not the iPad Pro. Samsung market share fell to 15.1%, still pretty good for second. Amazon grew 319.9% year over year to take third, and 7.3% of the worldwide market. Lenovo and Huawei rounded out the top 5.
Sorry for that spooky echo that crept back in there for a second. It seems to have gone away, though. Yeah, this is not good news for Apple at all. Apple seems to be wanting to say that we are going to have iPads fill in the bottom end of our market. That was sort of indicated when they only introduced new MacBook Pros, and yet they're not selling as many of those, and specifically not selling enough of these iPad Pros. And the only company that is growing in tablets is Amazon, and other companies are growing who are putting out cheap tablets. And Amazon benefited from their big Prime Day sale.
I have to say, I used an iPad Pro for the first time last weekend, and it was really nice. And I get it now, Tom. I get it.
I use one for my soundboard. I use it for mobile computing. Charlie, I'm curious do you ever use a tablet on mobile? Nope, we've got Charlie muted now, so you're gonna have to unmute yourself. Apologies for that.
Yeah, this is fascinating, though. I mean, it makes sense that kind of the cheaper level or less expensive models are definitely starting to creep up into the ranks. Maybe it's just because having a tablet is no longer quite the same kind of high-end experience that maybe it once was. So I understand why that's happening. And I'm also not surprised that the iPad Pro is really the one that's kind of lagging behind.
Yeah, Charlie, do you use a tablet for anything?
I do. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. Oh, and then it muted again somehow. I don't know if you're accidentally muting yourself.
Oh, okay. It looks like I'm back up. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. There's a ghost in here because it's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
It's Halloween. And I'm from Brooklyn, so the ghosts around here are mean.
Yeah, they're old too.
They're old and cranky. So yeah, I actually do. I don't use a tablet anymore. Ironically, I just sold 2 that I had that were sitting in my drawer collecting dust, and they were Samsungs. I guess they were okay, but I just felt like it was just redundancy. I mean, my phone is fine. I have used the iPad tablet. It's a beautiful machine. It's wonderful, but it's not something that I'm going to pay that amount for. And I think a lot of people are there right now. Not good news for Apple, though.
Yeah, definitely not. Last Friday, we got some good news. The U.S. Library of Congress put in force an exemption to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, allowing users to circumvent copyright protection in order to modify and repair their vehicles. That includes your tractors. We've talked about that before. Researchers can also report bugs to automakers without violating the law, which before, if they circumvented copyright protection to research a bug, that was technically in violation, and they could get sued by the company they were reporting the bug to. This exemption expires in 2 years, however, so either the Library of Congress will have to renew it every so often, or the EFF is actually leading a charge to get them to make it a permanent exemption.
Well, hopefully they'll see that it works and that it doesn't destroy, being able to actually sell software for things like vehicles, for example, and they'll just continue it anyway.
Yeah, no, this is just a notable thing, especially because we've talked so often about tractor repair and auto repair. And if you have to get into the software, the legal intricacies that you're dealing with just to fix your own car, I don't think that many people are going to take advantage of this. But I think it's good that it's out there as an exemption.
So am I the only one who thinks it's a good idea that they will have to review it ever so often, every 2 years or whatever? I actually like that.
You would rather it not be a permanent exemption?
I don't think, considering what we have, the legislative hurdles we have to kind of get over in the next few years with autonomous vehicles, I don't think that we should be set on anything. I think we should constantly be reviewing these laws and constantly, updating them and editing them. Now, I don't know if they can keep up with that much, turnover and constantly reviewing. That's the problem. The government can't necessarily keep up with that. But I don't know. I think it's a good idea to keep reviewing these things every few years as we innovate more and more. I think things will change.
Yeah, I mean, you could make an argument that making it permanent might preclude certain future exemptions from being considered. Yeah.
The Washington Post, Jeff Kuo, posted last week that research from Harvard Business School suggests that Wikipedia has become increasingly balanced in the course of its 15-year history. The site has had its share of flame wars among editors and in the past leaned left, but has steadily drifted toward the center. In fact, Shane Greenstein, Feng Zhuo, and Yao Gu found that individuals who post political articles on Wikipedia use fewer ideologically charged statements over time. The researchers analyzed more than 70,000 articles related to American politics, edited by 2.9 million people.
Now, we're talking about Wikipedia, which has its own manual you have to read about how to properly talk about the edits that you make on Wikipedia. This is a culture that's, 15 years old plus at this point.
It's matured.
So it may not be representative of things, but my hope, I fall short of saying belief, but my hope has always been that all of this partisan bickering and sniping at each other, not just in the world of politics, but in all kinds of issues, was a symptom of the fact that we couldn't actually talk to each other before. And now we're running into people with different viewpoints, and that maybe over time we could learn how to talk to each other. Here's an example of one situation, at least, where that seems to be happening.
And also, I think, too, it's been around long enough that it's become kind of self-policing in many ways. There's always going to be situations where there's going to be defacing or trolling of Wikipedia articles specifically. But I think that the overall community has kind of matured to a point where they're looking for that kind of stuff and know how to fix it a lot better than previously.
Right. Yeah, to me, it's really interesting. I think I kind of agree with you, Tom, in that this is a very isolated situation that probably is not applicable to any other site on the internet. Nonetheless, I think research is fascinating. But here's the thing. I don't know. I like the idea of looking at, especially on Facebook, where I think everyone I know has cut off someone or unfriended someone because of the elections, because of fights with over the politics. I mean, it's something that ought to be able to kind of help us to do, meaning mediate our discussions, because there's a lack of awareness on our part when we have these discussions in social media. And I just had a knockdown, drag out sort of a debate on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and I never get involved in those things. But it took one tweet that I sent that was pretty, it was to a friend, and the community just kind of saw it, and it snowballed, and people made assumptions, and it turned into a big, ugly, I ended it, but still, I feel like maybe this is some place where machine learning and bots can help us. We need help.
Yeah, I got sucked into an argument one time about whether AMC should have special showings for people who want to use their phones while they watch the movies. And yeah, I granted that is a controversial decision on their part. I didn't realize how controversial though. So yeah, it can be about anything, and I guess what I'm hoping there might be some indication in this Wikipedia study is that maybe there's some best practices in there that can't be ported directly over, but some principles we could pull out to say, hey, when you actually start to realize that the people you're talking to are real, you start to moderate your rhetoric a little. At least that's what they're finding here. I don't know how to translate that, but it gives me some kind of hope.
I just feel like Twitter, especially Twitter, which is a platform that sort of, I think by design, unfortunately, it brings out our worst cognitive biases. It kind of, I think by design, a platform like Twitter wouldn't even know what to do with that. Although I'm really disappointed that they haven't done any kind of real research. Twitter should be doing research like this about its own community. Twitter is about 10 years old, a little more than that. Why don't we know more about Twitter and why it's not working? I don't know.
Is there a design change Twitter could make that would help moderate?
Funny you should mention that. We're doing a hackathon about that next month. Funny you should mention that.
That's great.
You fell right into my trap. Yeah. Through Tech 2025, and what spurred that was this knockdown, drag out fight that I had that I didn't think was warranted and was kind of crazy. That even celebrities, especially, get involved in. But yeah, the idea is, can we build a better Twitter, either through AI, machine learning, bots, or whatever, that addresses our cognitive biases, that addresses the fact that we don't know how to have discourse on these platforms, but we need to learn now. You know what I mean? So maybe, I think there is.
Yeah, maybe somebody can hack something up. Fingers crossed. Finally, Manuel Cebrian Ramos of Australia's Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, and Pinar Yanardang and Ayad Rahwan at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have taught AI algorithms to create frightening images by feeding it one picture of a zombie. Now, the scientists fed 200,000 images of real human faces to the neural network, which learned how to create human faces. But they only had to give one zombie face for it to start to be able to modify images to make them scary. And then they want you to help teach them what's actually scary and what isn't, because some of them are just awkward or weird. You can vote on them at nightmare.mit.edu/faces and help the AI get better at terrifying people. Now, the scientists say by teaching a machine to know what frightens people, it can then avoid frightening people. You're teaching it what's frightening. And then you can tell the AI, like, now that you know what's frightening, don't show those images if you're not trying to frighten.
I'm good. I'm good on this particular one.
Really?
You don't need the AI.
I love it.
Yeah, what do you like about it, Charlie?
Well, you know what I love? First of all, I am a horror movie aficionado. I'm a buff when it comes to horror movies. I can watch those morning, noon, and night. So this kind of really got me going. And then it was interesting because I went to the Instagram page and I'm like, ooh, this is good. This is going to be good. And the images, obviously, to me, were not that scary. I mean, I see scarier things walking down the street in New York City on a daily basis. But okay. But I was really kind of fascinated by the fact that reporters were reporting on this as if to say, this is not smart to do because people are already afraid of AI. Why would you do something that would make them even more afraid? And I don't know if they were just being silly or whatever, but I thought that was kind of crazy. I like the type. I think this is a way to get people involved in AI in a way that's fun. And when I tweeted it out, people shared it. They loved it.
Yeah, and it certainly catches people's attention at Halloween time. It's the kind of thing that folks are going to be more interested in participating in. And then you're actually getting some crowdsourced help into training that AI, which is, that's always good to have that kind of participation. Thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You don't have to be frightened to do it. Just get in there and vote on some stuff that people have submitted, or submit your own stories at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. That's a look at the top stories. Let's talk to Charlie Oliver a little bit about what you do. You had a great Medium post earlier this week about the fact that people are not as afraid as you would think of AI. They're familiar with it. They're mostly afraid about losing their jobs, but it doesn't seem like anyone's actually out there giving people the information they need to know to not be afraid of machine intelligence.
Right. That's it exactly, Tom. And to be honest with you, it's not just that. It's that, listen, we're in a sort of a rebirth of AI, or whatever you want to call it, a renaissance. It's an exciting time. I mean, I think it kicks butt that people are excited and want to know more. But there's, like with any other kind of technology that's emerging, there's a lot of misinformation. Then you have people like, Elon Musk running around talking about robots eating us in 500 years. And then you have the culture of AI, which, as far as this country goes, with regards to movies and TV, it's complicated. We tend to like to think that robots are going to become our overlords because we've been seeing that in TV and films for years. I mean, it's ingrained in us to think that while they are wonderful when they serve us, that they can, kind of change on us at any point and turn into these beasts that will devour us. But yeah, research is actually showing. There was research that was done recently about this, and that's part of the problem, is that we don't have research on public attitudes about AI. And so one of the things that we're doing at Tech 2025, which is what I just launched, is we are working with organizations to get more research on people's public attitudes about AI, which I don't think brands are aware of. I don't think that the developers understand that people are really open to this. And there was an impromptu sort of informal poll taken at a Microsoft event. It was a Microsoft emerging technology event about a month ago. And the question was, how open are you to AI, and how are you afraid of it, or something like that? And something like 90% of the people who responded said, I want to know, I'm really intrigued by it, but I just need help understanding what it is. So I think that's where we are.
Yeah. How do we do that? If someone comes up to you and says, I want to know more about machine intelligence, I want to know more about AI, what do you tell them?
Well, I always, when people come up to me and ask me, I always begin by asking them questions because I want to get to know who they are. And I start asking them things like, what do you do? Oh, what kind of, I ask them about the technology that they use, and that gives me some sort of insight into who they are. Because if you can make it as personal as possible, people go, oh, okay. So they may say, I'll look at the phone that they have and I'm like, oh, what phone is that? What are you using? Oh, do you know you're already using AI? Do you know that Apple has Siri? And do you know that this and that? And that sort of gets them acclimated to the idea that, oh, I've been using it all along. You mean, and that's part of the problem, is that we've been using it, but people have not been educated all along. So I think it helps a lot. And what we have found is that when we talk to people about AI in a very personal way, and the AI that's in their homes and what's coming, it disarms them from any concerns that I think most of us would believe that people would have. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, I tell them straight out, look, I am trying to help people understand AI. I'm trying to kind of foster conversations between the tech community, the developers, and ordinary people and business people about AI and machine learning. But don't get it twisted. I'm not like an expert at this per se. I don't develop the technology. I start with, hey, I don't really know a whole lot compared to some other people. I'm learning. I tell them that everybody in this space right now is learning, even the experts. And I think that's the thing. People fear not knowing, and they fear what they don't know. But I think if they understood just how much we're all excited about this and how much there is to learn, it would be huge. But I try to get them out to events. So we do it through events, by the way. That's a huge thing. If you can get people to a live event, and we do workshops, and we do we have an event coming up. Like I said, the hackathon is one thing. That's for the tech community. But yeah, if you get people to events, I try to get people to go to meetups. We do meetups as well. It helps because then they can talk to each other.
Yeah, and once you actually experience something directly, you start to understand it more, and you understand its limitations. I mean, it's funny to hear on the one side people saying, "Oh, AI might get out of control," and on the other side, Veronica, you've got people complaining like the AI isn't good enough. It won't understand me when I talk.
Yeah, I think Charlie hit the nail on the head by saying that even the experts don't really understand how everything is coming together just yet. I mean, especially in the bot space where I work, there's a lot of misconceptions about what is artificial intelligence and what is machine learning and what is natural language processing and how do these things all come together and how are they supposed to make my life easier. And you know what, even the big companies like X.AI that have 70 plus people, a lot of which are scientists and engineers and programmers are still having a hard time figuring out how to make their digital assistant work in a way that makes it feel like a real human being. And Amy.xi and Andrew are still not getting things right for a lot of people. And I myself don't use it regularly because when you're scheduling meetings with people, that's like a really crucial moment to get it right and not offend someone or piss someone off. So, we have a long, long way to go. There's millions upon millions of dollars being funneled into these industries right now. And yet we still don't really know what we're doing. And I think that's kind of magical, actually.
It is, yeah. Hey, do you think I've decided to sort of switch up my repertoire with how I introduce the whole idea of machine learning to people who don't know. There was this tweet that went out last week or a couple of weeks ago by Mike Townsend, and it got something like several hundred retweets or whatever. And his comment about, he's, I think, the founder of FlowTab. His comment about machine learning was this. This is his tweet. Machine learning is like high school sex. Everyone says they do it. Nobody really does. And no one knows what it actually is.
Yeah. Well, this is amazing because I was at IBM's World of Watson last week. I'm hosting some events for them. And one of the events we did was this event called Cognitive College, where we were essentially teaching IBM influencers like how to describe these terms that are very kind of up in the air and people use them sometimes interchangeably and nobody really knows what they mean yet exactly, especially lay people. But also people who are working in technology don't really know the differences between them. And I've been asked to speak at events about our company like time and time again where they're like, come talk about your AI. And like, we don't use AI. We don't don't even use NLP. We don't use that set, but you don't necessarily, they're not interchangeable. They're not one and the same. Not every bot uses AI and vice versa. So it's still kind of the Wild West right now.
Well, didn't I freak out, Tom, when you sort of asked me? I mean, I was very flattered to be asked on the show. Thank you, guys. But when you you say, hey, you know, I see what you do. You know, it's really interesting, and I would love if you would come and talk about machine learning and AI. And I was like, wait, what? wait. Like, mind you, I do this with people. You know what I mean? I do this with clients, and I do this with people through Tech 2025. But the idea of, you know, like Veronica said, it's so tenuous and mushy, and you know, it's all a sort of a mess, but it's a beautiful mess. But that's what I lead with when I talk to lay people about this, which is, dude, if you're gonna wait to feel comfortable about talking about this stuff, you're gonna get left behind. Like, everybody, this is another opportunity in history that has presented itself during our lifetime, and we can all participate. And actually, in order for this stuff to really work the way it's supposed to, the way we hope it will, to deliver the promises that all these big companies say that AI will deliver, we need to be involved in the conversation. And it doesn't matter if you sound stupid or crazy, just, you know.
No, and I think that's important is to understand that just like you could talk about computers in the 70s without understanding assembly language, you know, you don't have to understand all the natural language processing algorithms. Not that if you don't want to go, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, go down that rabbit hole. But this is something that's going to impact your lives. So getting a little bit of understanding of it is going to help you quite a bit. And that's, like you say, going to events and getting your hands on it and using it and downloading apps and trying it out and seeing where, as we've talked about, it's broken and where it isn't, I think alleviates a lot of fears, and you start to understand how it can actually help you the more experience that you get with it.
Right. Not to mention the fact that this stuff is going to be, in the future, the job skills that are going to be needed or required will have a lot to do with AI. You're going to have to be proficient to some degree. I mean, if you're going to be, whatever you'll be doing, I mean, I think, and Veronica and Tom, I would love to know what you guys think, but I think that this stuff is training us for how we're going to engage with the deeper learning AI that's coming. I mean, we're at the sort of the precipice of what's to come. So
yeah,
it's like you better jump in now.
High school eventually. So
after having all that sex.
Yeah. College is coming, folks. Start to get familiar with your AI.
Exactly. Totally.
Well, speaking of events, yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Carry on. I was just about to move us to our final thing of the day. So if you got one more thought,
no, that's it. I was just going to say, in terms of machine learning and AI, I mean, like you said, it's also complicated. And what I try to tell people is that the easiest, I wouldn't say the easiest, probably the friendliest way to be introduced to hands-on AI, and I tell people, get in and get your hands dirty, is through bots, you know. And I tell people, anyone today can build a bot. I don't care who you are. I don't care how little or how much education you have. The platforms that are being built have truly democratized developing this technology. So get in there, take some classes online. I mean, God, there's so many great classes in machine learning in all levels. You can go theoretical or you can go technical, but make a commitment to building a bot and give yourself a bot by date. Like, by this date, I want my bot finished, you know, and make it 6 months, 3 months or whatever, but it's fun. So give it a shot and try to bring some people in with you.
Absolutely. 100% agree. In fact, our pick of the day is not about bots particularly or intelligence, machine intelligence, but Scott from Iowa wanted to send a pick of the day your way. He goes to Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and he writes, I'm the president of our Cyber Defense Club. That is now a thing apparently in schools, the Cyber Defense Club. We will be heading to Iowa State to compete as blue team in the cyber defense competition. The top 3 teams get to go to the national competition in the spring for compete at the university level. I thought this type of event would make for a good pick for any students that are listening in the audience. This competition is one of the best learning experiences I've had. It also looks good on a resume. If you have the chance to take part in one of these red versus blue competitions, I highly recommend it. And he's like, you don't have to be a student you could still take part. The red team often needs volunteers. If you don't have the skill for red team, you can be on the green team. They're always looking for people to act as the end users. He says the scenarios for the competition are getting more interesting in the last few years. They've been adding phones so that the blue team can take calls from the green team, the average users, and perform common tasks like unlocking accounts, resetting passwords. I really appreciate this aspect because, as the DTNS audience is well aware, people are far greater threats than anything else. Last spring in the national competition, they added a SCADA network. SCADA is the control system that's in charge of most of our infrastructure and often is derided for having no security or default passwords, etc. So I just wanted to share this with some people that might actually be interested in talking about this sort of thing. Also, he said, if you mention this to Darren Kitchen and the rest of the Hack 5 gang, I'd like to bask in the warmth of their approval. So there you go, Scott. I'm sorry Darren's not on the show today, but I'll pass this along to him as well. And you should check it out, cdc.iseage.org, if you're interested in that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Send more pics to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more pics at dailytechnewsshow.com/pics. Too soon. We are at the end of the show. But Charlie, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me. I love you guys. I learned a lot from you and from the community. So yay. Keep it up.
Yay. Good to have you on. If folks want to find out more about the events you do or any of the other things you do, where should they go?
Sure. So you can go to TEC2025, and there's a listing of events. We have several events coming up, events on cybersecurity, and we have one this week on Clinton and Trump's technology innovation policies. We're going to kind of go deep on that. And then I'm headed out to the Techonomy conference, where there'll be Mark Zuckerberg and Ray Kurzweil and a bunch of other awesome people talking about a lot of what we just talked about just now. And I'll be covering it and live tweeting it. So you can go to the page and see it. And yay. And follow me on Twitter at It's Complicated.
It's complicated.
Remember. No, it's not. My life is complicated, but
but your Twitter handle is not.
No, it's not.
Twitter.com/It's Complicated. Thank you again, Charlie.
Thank you so much, guys.
Veronica Belmont, you have lots of resources people can use to learn about bots.
I do. Yeah, you can check out botwiki.org if you want to see some tutorials on making your own bot. Like she said, it's super easy. There's tons of different ways you can do it. And if you want to jump into a community of bot makers and enthusiasts, head over to botmakers.org. We make it really easy to remember that stuff. And if you work for a big company or a small company and use Slack and you want to test out the bot that I work on, it's called Growbot, and you can download it at the Slack App Store.
Thank you, everybody who makes the show possible. dailytechnewsshow.com/support is the place to go to find out more about that. And a huge thanks to every single one of the people in our audience who supports us on Patreon, patreon.com/DTNS. If I can beg your indulgence to ask one more thing, audience, we're putting together our Best of 2016 show that will air at the end of December. So if you have a particular moment you loved from this year, let us know about it. bit.ly/Best of DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Scott Johnson, because this week's all weird by schedules. We'll talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yay, good show.
Oh my God.
Through technological fires.
You guys rock. I tell you, thank you. Just like made my week.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I was very nervous. I was very, very nervous.
You did great. You couldn't tell. You're going to go hang out with Mark Zuckerberg and stuff. Why are you nervous about being with us?
No, because I learned so much from you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
Well, we always hang around and we name the show and stuff, but I know you're busy, so please take off whenever you need to. But thanks again, Charlie. It was great having you on.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you so much. I guess bye. I mean, I would love to stick around, but
Yeah, stick around.
Sweet way of telling me to nah, wait a
No.
minute, because I'm
No, it's my way of saying I don't want to impose on your time.
Don't feel like you. Yeah, if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay. We just don't. Okay, awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Great, then you can help us
I
vote on.
I picked my favorite.
Oh, all right. So
My favorite so far is Ghost in the Machine by Buo Cow.
Yeah, no,
Buo
wait.
Cow.
Ghost in the Machine. But didn't we use that one before?
Did we?
I think so. But top is Open the Podcast Bay Doors Hal. I, for one, followed up by I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. Third is AI Not Afraid of No Ghost. Get it? AI. Ghost in the Machine, the one Veronica liked. Bought by Date for, and then What Goes, and it's Binary in the Night for Bump. What else do we got?
So punny today. Super punny.
Yeah, it's good. I like
Love it. Love it.
AI is AI right. All right. AI right. Right.
You like Ghost in the Machine because it's Halloweeny. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yay,
I have no favorites.
Charlie, do you have a favorite?
Well, they're all good, if I can be diplomatic. But,
Of course, absolutely.
But Ghost in the Machine because it's Halloween, and I love the reference.
I think we have a unanimous.
Cool.
Cool.
Ghost in the Machine it is.
I'm surprised no one came up with zombie anything. I guess zombies are over and done with, huh?
Yeah, maybe that's the indication. There's time.
Zombies have jumped the shark.
We need new or a newer or unoverused horror theme.
Yeah.
Thing.
They're all taken. Like vampires is over. Zombies are done.
I think when vampires became young adult, they stopped following.
All right, I have to get back to work myself.
Okay, thanks, Veronica.
Thanks guys.
Everyone.
Bye.
Pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, you too. Hopefully I'll see you at some AI events or something in the future.
I hope so.
Bye, guys.
Take care, guys.
Yes,
if
it's thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to stop the broadcast now.